Picture for a moment that you're standing in an immense cathedral, its stained glass windows depicting scenes from creation. As the light streams through the colorful panes, you notice a detail overlooked by most visitors. In the very first window, before Adam and Eve, are figures not typically shown elsewhere. They are tall, majestic, their forms radiating power. They are the sons of God. But who were they, and why are they depicted before humanity? Are they merely angelic messengers, or something more profound? This biblical mystery has fascinated theologians and scholars for centuries. Yet the answer has been obscured by doctrinal biases and modern interpretations. Today, however, we're going deeper, drawing upon a wealth of overlooked scriptures and ancient texts to answer this question once and for all. Who were the sons of God, and what was their role in creation? Is their story simply a prelude to humanity's arrival, or does it hold profound implications for our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it? Join me as we explore the cryptic accounts found in Genesis 6, Psalm 82, and Enoch, along with obscure rabbinical teachings and the Dead Sea Scrolls, to finally bring to light the full story of the sons of God. The truth is far more astonishing than you can imagine. We're about to unlock the deepest secrets of creation itself, so don't miss this. Let's begin. In the opening chapters of Genesis, we hear the well-known narrative of creation, culminating in the arrival of Adam, the first man, placed in the Garden of Eden. However, nestled within these foundational verses lies a cryptic reference that alludes to a reality older and grander than humanity's arrival. The account in Job 38 reads, "And the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy." What are we to make of this verse? Who are the sons of God, and what were they doing at the dawn of creation? To truly understand this enigmatic passage, we must first recognize that the word day in the Bible doesn't always mean 24-hour period, but often refers to vast epochs in Earth's history. In fact, Genesis chapter 1 itself uses this poetic language to describe the formation of the earth. Each act of creation is presented as taking place over a day, yet each day likely encompasses thousands or even millions of years. Thus, when Job 38:7 says, "The morning stars sang," it suggests a much longer time frame than a single day. Scholars believe this cosmic event marked a significant moment when the spiritual orders of heaven celebrated the birth of the earth itself. The term morning stars may refer to celestial bodies like planets and constellations, while the sons of God represent divine beings gathered to witness the unfolding of creation. Their joyful song echoes throughout eternity, underscoring the immensity and wonder of this cosmic event. But what exactly does the term sons of God entail? Does it refer to angelic beings, the gods of other religions, or perhaps fallen angels as depicted in the book of Enoch? Was there a time before Adam when the earth had inhabitants? How do we reconcile the idea of a pre-Adamic civilization with the biblical account of creation? These questions touch on one of the most contentious issues in theology. To navigate these complex questions, let's delve into additional biblical passages that shed light on the identity of the sons of God. As we continue our exploration of the sons of God, let's turn to another enigmatic text, Psalm 82. Here we find further clues pointing to their nature and purpose. In this psalm, the speaker addresses the divine assembly, those exalted and set apart for God's purposes. The opening lines proclaim, "God stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods." These words suggest a heavenly court where divine beings, possibly including the sons of God, gather before the supreme God to receive instruction or judgment. The psalmist continues, "How long will you judge unjustly and accept the person who is corrupt?" This raises the possibility that the sons of God, like any other group, can stray from righteousness and engage in wrongdoing. Later, the psalm takes a dramatic turn with the words, "When I said, 'You are gods, children of the Most High, all of you.'" These verses suggest a dual nature of the sons of God. On one hand, they possess divine characteristics, being called gods and associated with the Most High. Yet at the same time, they are described as children, implying a relationship of sonship to a supreme being. This apparent contradiction highlights the complexity of their identity and suggests that the sons of God occupy a unique position within the divine hierarchy. But what might be the true meaning of these verses? What does it imply about their origin and their connection to God? Is there a hidden lineage of divine beings that predates humanity's arrival on Earth? The answer to these questions lies in the often overlooked narratives found in the Old Testament. Within the Old Testament, a hidden account in Genesis chapter 6 provides crucial context for understanding the sons of God. The passage reads, "And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they went and took wives for themselves of all whom they chose." At first glance, this verse presents a puzzling scenario, seemingly contradicting the established timeline of creation. If Adam was the first man and Eve the first woman, who are these additional men and women mentioned here? And what is the significance of the sons of God choosing wives from among them? To unravel this mystery, we must consider alternative translations and explore the broader implications of this passage. A closer examination of the original languages reveals fascinating insights. The Hebrew word translated as men can also mean nations. This opens up the possibility that we are witnessing the emergence of distinct human populations before the account of Adam and Eve. Furthermore, the phrase "daughters of men" could refer not only to literal daughters, but also to human beings in general. Thus, Genesis 6:2 might be understood as describing a time when various human groups existed alongside the sons of God. This challenges traditional readings of Genesis, suggesting a more complex and multifaceted creation narrative. But what were the consequences of this union between the sons of God and the daughters of men? Did it result in offspring with divine powers, or did it lead to corruption and violence? The passage continues, "And the Lord regretted that he had made mankind on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart." This verse introduces a new element, God's own regret over creating humanity. Why would God express such sentiment if creation was inherently good? Some scholars suggest that the presence of the sons of God among humankind led to widespread wickedness and violence. The Nephilim, mentioned in Genesis 6:4, are interpreted as the offspring of these unions, known for their immense size and destructive ways. This suggests that the interaction between the sons of God and the daughters of men brought darkness and suffering to the earth. Consequently, God's heart was filled with sorrow. Exploring the concept of the Nephilim and their impact on humanity offers a glimpse into the depths of human corruption and the urgency for divine intervention. Understanding their role in the narrative of Genesis 6 helps us comprehend the gravity of sin and the desperate need for redemption. By examining the accounts of the Nephilim and their colossal influence, we gain insight into the perilous state of affairs that ultimately led to the global flood in Genesis 7. The presence of the Nephilim in the Genesis narrative reveals a disturbing chapter in the history of the earth. These mysterious giants, often depicted as colossal and destructive beings, serve as a stark reminder of the depths of corruption that humanity can reach. But who exactly were the Nephilim? According to Genesis 6:4, they were the offspring of unions between the sons of God and the daughters of men. This enigmatic statement raises questions about their origins and the true extent of their power. Were the Nephilim divine in nature, or were they simply the product of flawed human choices? Exploring their genealogy and lineage may provide clues to understanding their unique characteristics and capabilities. The term Nephilim itself means the fallen ones or the giants, hinting at their association with destruction and their imposing stature. Their immense size and strength are highlighted in the biblical account, suggesting that they posed a significant threat to the human inhabitants of the earth. This raises concerns about the safety and well-being of humanity in a world dominated by such powerful beings. As we delve deeper into the subject of the Nephilim, it is essential to acknowledge the various interpretations surrounding their existence. Some scholars dismiss their presence altogether, viewing them as mythical or legendary creatures. However, many theologians and researchers believe that the Nephilim were real historical beings whose impact should not be underestimated. The biblical account of the Nephilim serves as a focal point for understanding their role in shaping the course of human history. In Genesis 6:5, we encounter the heart of the problem. The passage states, "Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet he may live his way." This verse offers a sobering perspective on human nature. It suggests that despite being created in God's image, humanity has the capacity for great evil and corruption. The recognition of humanity's flawed nature drives home the severity of the Nephilim's destructive actions. Living in a world overshadowed by these giants and their wicked deeds would have been a daunting challenge. Facing such overwhelming darkness, God's decision to send a flood as a means of judgment becomes more comprehensible. The Genesis account vividly depicts a world teetering on the brink of complete ruin. In this dire situation, the arrival of Noah and the ark serves as a beacon of hope. Selected by God for his righteousness, Noah becomes the vessel through which life is preserved amidst the chaos and destruction. The story of the ark and the flood stands as a testament to divine mercy and the promise of a fresh start. It signifies a turning point in the narrative where God chooses to cleanse the earth of corruption and wickedness. Understanding the profound implications of the Nephilim's presence and the ensuing flood sheds light on the severity of humanity's descent into sin and the urgent need for divine intervention. The story of the Nephilim serves as a stark reminder of the potential for corruption and destruction that exists within humanity and the importance of seeking divine guidance and protection in times of great darkness. Our exploration thus far has revealed a profound truth. The sons of God were divine beings who existed before humanity graced the earth. Their role in creation and their subsequent fall offer a glimpse into the spiritual forces that have shaped our world. But now we stand on the precipice of a revelation that transcends even this knowledge. Brace yourself, for we are about to uncover the shocking truth about their fall and the immediate consequences that echoed across eternity. Don't miss this. The fate of the sons of God and the very essence of good and evil hinge on the next few moments. Keep watching. To truly grasp the gravity of the sons of God falling, we must examine the reasons behind their downfall. Pride, envy, and lust are identified as key factors leading them astray. The Genesis account points to a time when the sons of God, initially created as righteous and perfect beings, became captivated by the allure of earthly pleasures and the desire for power. Their fascination with human women resulted in unions that produced giants known as the Nephilim, bringing violence and corruption to the earth. This departure from their divine path led to a cosmic war, a battle between the forces of good and evil. The fallen sons of God aligned themselves with the forces of darkness, setting the stage for a conflict that would reverberate throughout history. Understanding the motivations and actions of the sons of God provides insight into the origins of evil and the profound implications of their choices. As we explore the causes of their fall, we gain a deeper appreciation for the magnitude of their rebellion and the importance of remaining steadfast in the face of temptation. The tale of the sons of God serves as a cautionary reminder of the seductive nature of power and the devastating consequences of unchecked ambition. Their story invites us to reflect on the choices that define our own paths and the importance of staying true to our divine purpose. The fall of the sons of God marks a pivotal moment in the spiritual narrative of our world. It represents the triumph of darkness over light and the introduction of evil into a previously harmonious existence. Yet amidst this turmoil, a glimmer of hope emerges. The divine plan unfolds with the arrival of Noah and the great flood, signifying a cleansing of the corrupted earth and the preservation of righteousness. This narrative reminds us that even in the darkest moments, divine mercy and restoration remain possible. As we reflect on the consequences of the sons of God's fall, let us also celebrate the enduring power of hope and the promise of renewal. The story of the fall serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to resist the temptations that lead to darkness and to embrace the light of righteousness. Thank you for joining me on this enlightening journey through the enigmatic realm of the sons of God. Together, we've uncovered the layers of this profound biblical mystery, shedding light on a narrative that has fascinated theologians and scholars for centuries. If you found this exploration thought-provoking and insightful, I invite you to dive deeper into our channel, where more captivating mysteries of the Bible await your discovery. Your continued engagement fuels our passion for unraveling the profound truths hidden within Scripture. Until next time, may your walk with Christ be ever more enlightening. Stay blessed.